Our first look at the 1 litre variant of the Renault Kwid. The automatic petrol Hyundai Creta is on the show. And we're bringing you some motorsport action from the Thar Fest, the Maruti Suzuki Dakshin Dare and the annual Rainforest Challenge. Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. Brand new episode here on CNB, and with us is that brand new Renault Kwid. Now it's been expected for some time, the 1 litre variant, and we finally got our hands on it. So today you get a quick glimpse of it on the program. So I'll just give you a few quick first impressions on the car today. Let's quickly move on though and talk about that automatic Hyundai Creta that is now available in petrol as well. It's been out for some time and some of you have been wanting to see that review. Let's jump straight into it.
With a shift back towards petrol, it's not surprising to see petrol variants gaining ground. And with the demand for automatics also picking up steam, it was no surprise Hyundai launched the petrol Auto Creta. The diesel automatic contributes close to 8% of the total sales of the Creta, and the petrol will only see the automatics contribute more. The exterior and the cabin remains the same. All the car gets is an auto badge at the rear to distinguish it from the others. But then again, there's no badge to suggest that it's a petrol variant.
An automatic Creta with a petrol engine. Well, it's a 6-speed torque converter, and the gear shifts are pretty nice because they shift seamlessly. What is also important is the fuel efficiency figure is the same as in the manual. So that's 15.29 kilometers per litre. And it's quite amazing considering that it's an automatic gearbox. So we've seen how the evolution has begun. So expect more Creta, expect more customers to actually go in for something like a Creta automatic.
The cabin is silent because both the drivetrain isn't noisy, but when you floor the pedal, the gears can't keep up and you hear the engine rumble. And that is a bit annoying, especially if you're trying to overtake. But it's much quicker than the diesel automatic, which had its fair share of turbo lag. But shift to the manual mode and everything falls into place. The gear changes are then at your will and there is enough power to keep you going. There are no complaints about the ride quality either because the Creta coasts over any undulations the road has to offer. The cabin is a familiar one and the feature list too remains the same, except here's no cruise control, only 2 airbags on offer instead of 6. It doesn't get auto-locking doors, auto-dimming inside mirror and auto headlamps and wipers, all of which should have been there to justify the 12,88,000 rupees price tag. As part of the first anniversary celebrations of the Creta, Hyundai decided to introduce 3 new variants. The E Plus and the SX Plus are available with a petrol engine and manual transmission. The E Plus gets features like a 5-inch touchscreen audio system, steering-mounted audio and Bluetooth controls and tweeters, all of which cost 9,99,000 rupees. The SX Plus edition gets a 2-tone color scheme with black roof and white body and sporty graphics, 17-inch diamond-cut alloy wheels, an all-black dashboard with red accents, premium black seat fabric with red inserts, a 7-inch touchscreen AVN system and leather-wrapped steering wheel with audio and Bluetooth controls. Hyundai has priced this one at 12,23,000 rupees. The Creta Automatic costs 3 lakh rupees more than the automatic variant EcoSport and is close to a lakh more expensive than the BRV Automatic, which comes with an additional row of seating. But the Creta Petrol Automatic is a more than a lakh rupees cheaper than its diesel automatic counterpart.
Right, so that's the new variant from Hyundai. Now, a lot of people have been asking about these new variants on the Kwid. Now that the 1 litre is here, the next big question, when does the AMT arrive? Well, I can tell you that Renault says it's going to stick to its promise for this calendar year, and so in a few weeks, we should have some news on that for you as well. Now we're going to go storm chasing in the United States. This is something crazy that happened a few weeks ago, and I'm sure you will enjoy it.
Roger, we're going to head to the 80 and then drive a little bit more east. Yes, we're still chasing a cell right now.
I think it's touching down. I'm Tornado Tim, and I spend every year chasing storms. I've been chasing storms for over 20 years, and on this trip I'm using the Jaguar XF. So a tornado forms by a lot of moisture in the low-level atmosphere, along with a lot of wind shear above that and some type of trigger, like a low-pressure system coming over the top. Chasing this late in the season, you can still get a stunning tornado, or I can go home with nothing. Looking at the weather maps, things are looking great over the next couple of days. We need to get on the road and get in position. And when you find yourself on gravel or mud roads, having that all-wheel drive keeps you on the road safely. That's a beautiful storm, and on radar, he's looking mean. He's looking like the meanest storm right now. Look at him. And we're right in his path. He is going to run right dead into us. When you're storm chasing, you've got so many gadgets that you have to load into the car. It's really nice to be able to jump in a car that already has connectivity built into it. You have Wi-Fi instantly without having to drag all your equipment in there. We're going to take a quick stop to the National Weather Service office in Omaha, Nebraska, and talk about severe weather and the warnings that they issue.
Tornadoes are like criminals, and they leave their fingerprints behind. The storm spotters are very important to us because we need the eyes out there to give us feedback of what they're seeing.
Right here, it's trying to form right here, guys. This is the spot. This is what Doppler's picking up as it's spinning right here. The storm is starting to form. We can actually see the base of the supercell starting. That funnel is just a little piece of the massive amount of energy. Look at how it's wrapping right in on it. See that? See how fast it's wrapping back in? Oh, I think it's touching down. Okay, you guys just drove in the back end of the tornado. One of the things I tell people is, if you are in your car, just get to shelter, knock on somebody's door, go into a business that's got brick walls, get into something that's solid, get out of your car. You do not want to be in your car when the tornado comes. It's been a pretty dramatic week, especially as we're able to punch underneath the tornado. This shows you the final product of when it intensifies even further.
Welcome back to CNB. We are driving the new 1 litre Kwid and showing you just a few glimpses and a first impression on the car on today's program. Now, can you tell that there's a difference in the engine? Well, yes, that's one thing you pick up straight away when you start driving this car. It does feel different to the regular 800cc engine car. The interesting thing though is that unlike what you see with some of the other models from the competitors, there are no other real differences between the two cars. So it really comes down to how that engine feels, which in its own way is perhaps a more pure way of looking at things. The engine has great low-end torque and drivability even in city traffic. I have to say, first impression, it's a good one. Now let's move on and talk about a whole bunch of activities that have been happening across the motorsport spectrum the last few weeks, and we've just sort of compiled them all for you because there's lots of fun, lots of mud, slush, and some total craziness on four wheels. And so, like I said, 3 different events and one big story to cover it all.
Racing, rallying and off-roading, all starting to really take off in India of late, with a slew of events getting enthusiasts excited. Maruti Suzuki conducts an annual rallying event called the Dakshin Dare. In its 8th edition, the rally saw over 190 participants this year and included both time, speed, distance and extreme rallies for both 4-wheelers and 2-wheelers. The endurance rally included long distance time, legs and special stages starting from Bengaluru and ending in Goa, taking a terrific route through Coorg and Shimoga. It had a mixed group of participants that included over 15 women participants.
My last rally was in 2000. After that I have not rallied. So just thought we come back and check what's happening in the rally scene. And like I want my daughter to get into this, so show her what rallying is. We took part. Going good.
We will be heading to Goa tomorrow for the final leg, but before that I want to tell you that this leg has been wonderfully cultivated on the mountainous region of Karnataka. While we expected the cars to do well, what has been a surprise are the 2-wheelers.
We tracked the rally in our very own CNB assigned S-Cross. The 6-day rally covered over 2200 kilometers, and while scenic, the Karnataka was also treacherous, with all the rain adding to the challenge. Most of the cars in the extreme rally were gypsies and Grand Vitaras. While on the time speed distance, we saw the Swift, the old Baleno sedan and yes, the S-Cross too. Maruti Suzuki also confirms that its new products like Vitara Brezza and Baleno will also soon be made rally ready for future events. On the 2-wheeler side, participants competed on TVS Apaches, Hero Impulses, Royal Enfield Bullets, and we also saw a scooter, the TVS Wigo, in the thick of the action.
It's brilliant. It was the most unexpected route that I ever expected. Rallying, I thought it's probably this point A, point B, but then this point A, point B is climbing a hill, and random things like we had to ride in a coffee estate and climb a hill.
The Dakshin Dare may have ended in Goa, but that's where the action exploded for the 3rd edition of the Rainforest Challenge, one of the toughest motorsport events in the world. It's where the participants get downright dirty with their souped-up off-road vehicles to take on some really inhospitable challenges.
What you see around me is the carnival, that is the 2016 Rainforest Challenge India. The event is being held in the beautiful jungles of Goa, and this is the venue for the Terminator stages of the event. One can't help but get awestruck by these monstrous SUVs taking on these inhospitable terrains and crazy challenges.
We have seen the event grow every year in terms of execution and participation. Tougher special stages increased number of participants and cars that were much better prepared than seen in the previous 2 editions. As usual, there were 4 legs in the competition, namely the Prologue, Predator, Terminator and Twilight. The prologue leg had 12 special stages, which were kind of the easing in stage. The Predator stages cranked up the heat, and the Terminator stages were close to terminating quite a few competitors from the overall scheme of things. The Twilight Zone was a 7-kilometer route through thick foliage, cliffs, water crossings and then some. The participants were given 10 hours to finish this zone, a time limit of 10 hours to cover 7 odd kilometers. It surely wasn't your average garden stroll for sure. This edition of the Rainforest Challenge has been a smashing success. The special stages were much tougher this time around, and next year promises even more. Staying in Goa now, let's show you the annual Mahindra Thar Fest, an event where different Thar clubs from around the country come together to celebrate off-roading. The modified 4x4 Thars had their work cut out for them, going through the slush and conquering the track created just for this event. We also got behind the wheel to get in on some of the off-roading fun.
Now, while that was some serious off-roading from the club owners of Mahindra Thar and different Mahindra fleet vehicles, we now head to see what a stock Mahindra Thar can do. And well, this is how the big guys play soccer.
Now that is some serious fun on 4 wheels, isn't it?
Now the Kwid will always be available in its same 4 variants, which is the Standard, the RXC, the RXL and the RXT. So it's just the 2 different engines, but both available on the 4 trims. So that's nice in a way, because that means you now get a lot more variety, and you can pick and choose what you want to go with. Though of course I will always recommend that you go for the option pack on the top end trim, which at least has a driver's side airbag. Having said that, now I will of course be waiting for the prices on the 1 litre. That's again something we'll share with you as soon as the car launches next week. I'm going to ask you a question at the very end of the show, and that is, would you like to see even more variants on cars like these? The fact that the entry part of the market is becoming more and more saturated and also more exciting with different kinds of options to suit different kinds of personalities. Remember, at the Auto Expo, we also saw some really funky concepts based on the Kwid. Would you like to see cars like that? Something I'd like for you to share with me. You can do that on our Facebook page. With that, I'll say goodbye. Wear your seatbelts, please wear your helmets, and I'll see you next week.